Last Sunday, we brought you the story of an Army veteran with PTSD who barricaded himself and a 4-year-old son in a home. Today, we dive deeper into the signs of PTSD and how to help. 17's Pro Shaheen tells us more.
The family of 39-year-old Elliot Davis says he's still in the hospital after setting off several explosions and allegedly trying to kill himself. His story sheds light on the importance of getting help before it's too late.
Going in.
These explosions mark the end of Davis's 12-hour standoff with police. It happened at his brother's house near Memorial Hospital on San Dimas and 32nd Street. BPD says officers initially responded to calls of Davis assaulting his ex-wife with a hammer. His brother's wife, Beth Shook, says she saw the chaos unfold. She and the couple's 4-year-old son were allegedly in the house when it happened.
He was standing in the door looking outside. He had his hand on the knob and was standing in the doorway. And rather than pull the door out of his hand, I lifted the curtain and looked. And right out here by that tree, my brother-in-law was beating her in the head with a hammer.
Davis's ex-wife escaped and drove to a nearby store where someone called an ambulance for her. She told 17 that she's been treated for her injuries but has yet to fully recover. Beth Shook says she and her husband tried to take the 4-year-old to a safer place, but Davis grabbed the child.
My husband tried to go after him, and his brother came into the house at that point and said, no, he's going to stay with me. And I mean, he's got a hammer in his hand, and my husband decided that it would be the safest thing to just go ahead and leave.
Police arrived a few minutes later. They say Davis took the 4-year-old into the house and threw an explosive at officers trying to arrest him. BPD and a SWAT team waited outside and tried to communicate with him. They finally broke into the house at around 4 a.m. That was when Davis lit his last explosives. The 4-year-old was treated for his injuries and has since reunited with his mom. Davis is still recovering. It could have been avoided had Davis gotten the help he needed to treat his PTSD. He served 2 tours in the U.S. Army, one in Afghanistan and the other in Iraq. The National Center for PTSD says up to 20% of veterans who served in those wars have PTSD. Davis's sister, Cassandra Barone, says when Davis returned in 2005, something was off.
It was evident, he was not the same. He was more paranoid, more easily agitated.
17 News spoke with Davis 5 years later about the mental toll of returning from war.
You're over there and your body's being pumped full of adrenaline for a year straight. That's one of the best drugs there is adrenaline. And then you come home strung out on adrenaline.
He struggled with feelings of isolation and loneliness.
You can't really connect with anybody, on an emotional level, because they don't understand how you feel, how you feel inside.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Corey Gonzalez says this feeling is common among vets with PTSD. Common signs include being easily startled, sleep issues, and drug abuse. Dr. Gonzalez says your body tries to protect you after trauma, which results in panic attacks and avoidance of group settings.
After they've been through a trauma, a lot of times, their fight or flight response is going on, it's overactive, and it's kind of damaged. So it's going off all the time, even though it's not needed. They're having chemicals in their body, they're having a lot of anxiety. So it's difficult for them to go out in public and socialize.
He says vets often don't want to share their experiences with civilians and recommends that they join support groups with other vets.
It's difficult because a lot of guys, are particularly Marines and guys are, that have been through combat, have been trained not to have weaknesses, to be strong. So for a lot of guys, it's difficult to reach out for help. But when you get, when you educate them about what this is, and particularly if you get other veterans involved, it can be very powerful. Let them know they're not alone. This is something that can be managed. And it's something that's a serious problem.
He says family or friends of a veteran showing these symptoms should call the U.S. Veterans Affairs Department to get them screened. The veteran can also go to a clinical psychologist to get rated for their disorder and can receive benefits for their sacrifice. After being diagnosed, there are a few ways someone with PTSD can manage these problems.
If you stop the dangerous thoughts in your mind cognitively and you learn to slow your breathing down, you can get your nervous system back to normal within 3 to 5 minutes. But it takes practice, gaining insight to the triggers that cause the PTSD so you don't get triggered out in public. Learning how to, learning relaxation techniques, the Calm app, Headspace, there's different apps out there. Any kind of meditation those types of things help you learn to manage that hyperarousal so it doesn't impair your life.
He says medication, therapy, and exercise can help as well. We'll have a link on our website at kget.com to learn more ways to help a veteran with PTSD. Perla Shaheen, 17 News.